Okay, guys. Um, Feed me some questions. How many months have I backtested total? I'd probably say like 24 to 30. I've, I've backtested like every month I could possibly backtest. Do I live trade every day? No, Magnus, that's a dumb question. How long have I been profitable for? So I became profitable 4 months in, July, July to now, however long it is. I got my first payout 3.5 months into trading. I paid out like 5K in like 14 days. What's my method to scaling? Um, Pay out one account and put some of that money aside. Like spend half of that money on something that you feel like you've earned, and spend the rest of the money on scaling up and buying more accounts. Like the Alpha Zeros are perfect for scaling up. Like you buy one, you get a 1350 payout, then you get three, and then you get a $4,050 payout. What do you look for on a daily bias, and then for A or A plus trade? I started back testing and I feel like I've gone to shit, but also feel like that could be because I don't lock in as hard on real trading. So like for a daily bias here, I'll do my daily bias for this week. So like first I go on the weekly. Like you got to look at weekly. So like this week we kind of framed a reversal. I think we hit previous week low. No, we didn't. So this week we kind of like framed a reversal back to the upside. So like from the start, you could expect like this high to be ran end of week or something like that, or like a relevant swing to happen to be hit. And then I drop to daily. So like daily, we haven't hit anything relevant yet, but ES looks like the strongest asset here. It's the closest to this high. We could see a new phase of price at this high on ES, or if ES prints a continuation signature, we could expect the lagging assets to come up and take the high as well. So like NQ looks like it's kind of weak. ES will definitely come out and take this high first. On the daily, it looks the strongest. Then drop 4 hour. Let's see if there's anything super relevant. So we have a 4 hour 2-stage PSP right here. As you can see, this candle on NQ closed bullish, and this same candle on YM closed bearish. And we ended up putting an SMT there as well that we like completely reversed off of. So we like delivered off of this SMT. So I could expect us to come up and take out that high. Like not anytime soon, but these highs look relevant. It just depends if ES goes and takes it out first. And then you also said, what do you look for? Blah, blah, blah. Well, that was just my daily bias, but like an A versus like an A plus trade versus an A trade would be like this. So like this 4 hour PSP. So like trading away from this is beautiful. Like this signature and price looks so good. So we have like a 4 hour gap here. And we put in a PSP within the 4 hour gap. That is just such a good signature of price. And it's 2-stage, which is even better. That's freaking beautiful. Like that would be the most A plus thing I could possibly see for like daily bias and like finding a trade out of this. Like let's see if there's like entry out of this. Looks pretty choppy. Well, this was Thanksgiving, but there's probably an entry like in here that you could trade away from with that 2-stage. Let's say we're bearish and we get a bull candle on NQ and the rest is bearish, but it has a large wick. How can we predict and trade the next candle when it could be both a reversal or a continuation PSP? That's a really good question, Theo. So like if one of them closes bearish versus bullish, like okay, so where's the draw? Okay, so like let's say we have these assets coming here. Let's say there's like a relevant low here. And you said like continuation PSP. So let's say like we have the PSP right here, or like wherever you want to have it. And let's say we the PSP was made like here. We haven't hit anything relevant. So like maybe if we made the PSP down at this relevant low, we could expect a reversal rather than like up here. I think that's what we're talking about. And like also if these assets like, where is it? Let's say like this asset, we take this low on the other asset, we make a PSP, this asset stays in like premium, and then like it starts to reverse, you could probably expect a reversal of this asset as well. Like something similar to that. I feel like that might help. Like how to really determine the difference. Yeah, why are you not working? There you go. Are you going to approach December differently to November? No, I'm probably going to trade it the same. I mean, I'm just going to sit on my hands and be patient. There's really no reason to rush a payout or rush success, especially on a low probability month. If I'm bearish on the week but unsure on the daily, is it okay to align bullish on weekly open, Monday, Tuesday, open, low, open, high, low, close? Yeah, I'd say that's valid. You could like aligning time frames, like if you're, well, not every like week is going to be perfect open, low, high, close, right? Like some weeks we'll have like an expansion week, we'll have a reversal week, we'll have a continuation week. So you just gotta like use your other like the 4-hour biases as well to help you determine like the later in the week bias. Bro, no, why? Do you trade a stronger asset? I see most people just trading NQ even if it's weaker. So I back tested, but I haven't started implementing it yet. But that's like something that I'm definitely working on. But if you require a strength switch, like Ben's saying right here, like you and trade the stronger asset, you'll most likely freaking take the draw easily. Can you show us a setup that presents itself but you wouldn't take? It's mainly like these failure swing SMTs. So I'm just gonna draw this out. So like these, like let's say we have an SMT here, and like these are the SMTs that I'm like deathly afraid of, because some of them, like the only reason I wouldn't take this trade is that like the other assets are deep in the range as well, and they like barely fail to manipulate this low that we have SMT'd. But the only time that I would take a trade like this where it's like a super relevant failure swing SMT is once again like the premium. Like if that asset comes and takes the low, and then we also have another asset that's just like here and it sits like right in premium and then reverses, that's when I'll take it. But if it looks like this on both assets, like the SMT is down here on the other asset as well, that's something I won't take unless we're in like, this is like somewhat advanced premium discount, but like I will definitely take it if the other asset stays in premium. Bro, that's a good question, Bryson. Mike's trolling. Do I always go BE at 1-to-1 or internal high / low? I usually go break even like at the internal high or low, because sometimes the mechanical 1-to-1 will like you'll get stopped out before the real like move happens. Do I always check the 15-minute, 1 hour, and 4 hour candles before entering? Yeah. Usually I'll ask myself, I'll be like, does it make sense for us to have a super valid reversal here? If you trade strength switch and out of YM, ES, and Q, YM reacts from a relevant low first and inverses the gap, would you take that if you take inversions? Because I see that happen a lot, and YM inverses the gap and then go the other direction until NQ or ES react off the low. So are you saying like YM displaces away first? Like YM frames the reversal first before the other assets? I'd like to see all the assets form a reversal first, because like I'm not trying to catch the whole reversal. I'd rather just catch a continuation entry off of it versus like the whole entire reversal, trying to long the bottom. Do you ever take 5-minute gap taps or usually wait for 15-minute or higher as a valid key level, like a continuation? I've shown some other trades in here where I've taken there's none in here, but I've taken 3-minute gap taps. I'll take 3-minute gap taps if the draw is super duper strong. How many trades a week usually? I'd probably say like 4 to 5. But there's a bunch of setups that present itself throughout the day, but I usually like to sit on my hands and take the best setups I can. Mike, bro, walk in. Oh, so in the case of a reversal PSP, would you take the lagging asset after all expand? No, I only take the lagging asset like the other day when we had that SMT at those highs on NQ. Forget where it was. We had like an SMT with YM, and I traded the lagging asset to the draw. It was right here. People were scared. They were like, SMT at previous week high, blah, 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 but I traded NQ, the lagging asset, to that high. But that's like higher time frame lagging asset. But that was like my complete draw for the day. There was like a SMT here as well, but everyone was scared, but it's just SMT break and retest logic. Do you always require CISD or is an IFEG a valid entry for you? At the moment, I require SMT to form CISD in the same candle, seeing better results. I definitely say those 3-minute CISDs are super duper valid. Your stop is, in theory, protected with the SMT and CISD away, but I like to catch like smaller RR versus the higher time frame draws in the higher RR. So I usually take the IFEG. Would you consider an A setup, no PSP, and can you show us an A plus setup? Yeah, if I could find an A plus setup, I'll definitely show it. I'm not sure if any of these are A plus, but we did have some crazy ones. Okay, so this is like pretty much A plus. 4-hour SMT, 2-stage. We don't have a PSP here. And then I took a low time frame gap tap. There's no inversion, so that's like discretion, but like, if there are any valid ones, well, obviously here's the checklist for the A plus setups. But like you saw that 2-stage I showed. I think we had 4-hour gap delivery as well. I'll try to find one. I'll definitely have to upload like an A plus setup video. So we're inside a bearish daily for value gap, but rejected out of a 4-hour. Would you long or does it just depend? A lot of backtesting there are daily gaps to 4-hour gaps that contradict each other, just messing me up. I mean, it's all depending on the narrative, right? It all really depends on the narrative, like how the other assets tell the story as well. Like I'm pretty sure people were catching longs in here, like this whole gap we were longing out of, right? So like it just depends on the narrative. Like that shouldn't scare you too much in the markets. Do I have a set stop loss? No. I usually adjust my risk based on stop size. Theo, I'll make a video on this. S&T break and retest. It's just like, so basically sometimes you trade into SMT breaks. Like we were obviously bullish like this day. So I traded into the SMT break. So like my target, like my full draw was the SMT break. But I can make a video on that. I know no model is 100%, but I only really get caught out by like 15-minute retracement and then all my draws get hit. Yeah. He's talking about 1-minute CISD, they're fire. Max stop loss, I mean, I try to risk like 500 max. Risk what you're comfortable risking. If I have a buffer, I'll risk like 1K though. I take the CISD with SMT if I miss my IFEG entry. How do you feel about that? I don't hate that. I actually like that. But like the 1-minute CISD is not as probable as a 3-minute. But if you could like align the CISD to have your stop protected, that's definitely valid. Bro, Magnus, lock in. Bro's trading Asia. You said you do take 5 minute, not just 15-minute and 3-minute discretionally? Yeah, I take the 5-minute and the 15-minute. I don't require the 15-minute. I'll take the 3 and 5 like most days if the draw's there. Would CISD after IFEG just be another confluence helping you to hold the trade? Yeah, definitely. Like if we print an IFEG and then we CISD away, I'm definitely confident, and the CISD should put in a swing formation. So in theory, you could drag your stop to the low of the swing formation on the CISD. I'm gonna answer like 3 more, and then I'm gonna upload this video. Unless y'all have more questions. Let's see if we get like 3 more. How do you feel about 20-point stops, or do you always put it below the swing low? 20-point stops are like, it's like set RR. I don't favor set RR, but I really like having my protected stop at the swing low, because you could definitely get wicked out. Do you ever move stops up instead of full break even when it's time? Yeah, when it's time to go B. Instead of full break even. Yeah, like if we printed so like let's say my, let's see if I could like draw this out well. Let's say I like enter here. My stop is like blah, blah, blah at this low. Let's say like SMT or whatever. And then we print like a CISD or something relevant, like right here. I'll drag my stop up to this low. When we make a new relevant swing formation, like if we CISD'd away, then I drag my stop up to that low. It all just depends how like price is moving and how you have to react to it. Let's see what Asia's doing. Mid. With your model, what fixed RR do you take? I like the 1 to 2 personally, but sometimes full draw if it's super clear. I mean, I don't have fixed RR because my stop loss isn't usually set, but I prefer like 1 to 2 minimum. Ben. Oftentimes my draw is incorrect and something like this happens when I take my entry on the 30-second/1 minute. Yeah, because sometimes you need to wait for the internal manipulation. Like I know I'm saying this in somewhat hindsight, but most of the times before the real move happens, there's a lot of internal manipulation. But this has happened to me a bunch of times. That used to happen to me all the time. Unless you like require in the 2-stage. Or if you align time with price, like at like 10 a.m. How do you identify the real leg versus the internal manipulation? What causes you to wait? It's really just like waiting for that super duper A+ setup. I mean, you can't really predict that it's going to happen, but sometimes if we have the internal manipulation, there's a low time frame strength switch inside of that. Exactly, Ben. That's beautiful. Or trading a C3 4 hour. Those swing low SMTs are what validate the real leg. Exactly. Is a PSP an SMT with different closed candles, or can you have one without an SMT? You can have a PSP without an SMT, but it's just a strength switch. So like the PSP with the PSP with the SMT is like a higher confirmation for me. Like this right here. Like the 2-stage PSP. We have like these opposite. Oh, that's a 2-stage SMT. Here's the PSP. Bullish close, bearish close, but like if there's SMT here, that gives me more confirmation to trade away from. But this is just a strength switch. So like this asset comes and takes this high before this asset does. If that makes sense. Magnus has probably used PSPs without even knowing. Like, I bet you guys have entered on a PSP without even knowing it. You just have to, like, lock in and look for it. They're super valid. Can you go over C2s and C3s? Because I know trading expansion is always the way to go, but if you know how to profile, you can trade whatever. Yeah, so I think we've talked about this before. Okay, so like, there's one right here. C1, C2, C3. C2 sweeps out the low of C1. There's also a PSP. C1 sweeps out, or C1 just closes normally, just candle. C2 sweeps the low of C1, closes back in the range. C3 respects 0.5 of C2's wick and expands. And then C4 is usually a continuation if we get it. But like reversal, just normal close, sweeps low, closes back in the range of the previous candle's body, respects wick, trade away. Doesn't mean anything if one asset takes that PSP low and the other asset can't take that low because the candle closed bullish. So like if we two-stage it, usually the asset that doesn't take the low, we could trade away from if we get a valid reversal signature off that swing formation. Like kind of Powell's wick theory. So the EQ is measured from wick to wick, not just from the body. Well, it could be either, but like usually when I trade a C2, like this small wick that respects like the body or the candle, the small wick like frames expansion for me. Small wicks are so good for expansion. You don't want to see like a big wick. Like big wicks aren't that good for expansion. Small wick is definitely better. Then ideally intraday candle of that C2 has an SMT and other conferences. Exactly then. Yeah, exactly. If the expansion candle had a large but not too large wick, would you still trade it? I mean, yeah, if it makes sense for us to reverse there, definitely. 100% I would. Oh shoot. Yeah, Thea, don't learn other stuff. I'll trade like a big wick if it forms a valid reversal signature, but I prefer higher time frame confluences over lower time frame confluences. All right, let's see if we get one more. So you go based off the 4 hour C2 and C3 to help with your bias. Yeah, but you could like align time with price. So like T-Trade's like fractal model, it's like the 4 hour. See if we like have an example. Like this is clean. Like goes to 4 hour, right? This respects 0.5 of the wick. We drop. We hourly CISD. Then you look for like a rejection out of a gap or something. Like if there was like it might be a 30-minute model. Well, I'm on ES anyways. Might be a 30-minute model. No, there's not, but if we like SNC this, you could trade away from it. For like a relevant low. That's what I would trade away from. Does both the slash motion model really use a lot of the PSP things or anything like that without actual having it a part of the strategy? No, the motion model is just mechanical. He just teaches the mechanical model. This is more like, I don't want to say like advanced. I mean, it's kind of like more advanced topics that help you frame narratives and full reversals. But Riley's model works. Like he doesn't use PSPs. He doesn't have to. Yeah, this is still pretty much mechanical. I don't know what a rejection block is. I just know it's 0.5 of like a liquidity wick. But like in theory, I guess. This looks like OT. Yeah, or also like OT of wicks too. Like look at that. We rejected perfectly off this. I'm not afraid to like long a wick like that. How do you determine low and high day? Usually 2-stage. Usually like a 2-stage. Or if like we have like a really shitty low day. Like the other day we had one. And then we went out and took it. It was when we dumped. I literally called that. Where was that huge dump? Oh, here it is. Here, let's see. So like, where's the 4 hour? Just 10 a.m. We had like a really shitty low day. Like, look at this. Nothing's protecting this. That's why I called it out. I was like, our low day sucks. We like take a relevant high and reverse. I think one of the other assets took this high. And then we like dumped. Yeah, we took that high and dumped, exactly. That's how I like confirm low day. Delay protraction is a horrible profile to trade. Would you still trade delay protraction profile? I've avoided it a few times as the wick is too big. I mean, yeah. I'll just trade like lower probability setups with delay protraction. It's a pretty horrible profile to trade. It's like we make a high of day, we come back, form the wick at the bottom side, we come back up, make a new high of day in reverse. Did you start off with motion model? I used to trade like just liquidity sweeps and IFVGs out of a high time frame gap, and then I watched some GXT, added 2-stage SMTs, and then I got paid out doing that like 5K in July, and then I joined Riley's motion model even though I already traded it. But yeah, Garrett doesn't like trading delay protraction, by the way. Theo, you're wrong. What's the trade-off with entering from IVGs versus CISDs? Win rate difference RR. That's something I'd have to backtest. I have been like wanting to switch to CISDs, but I have such a bias towards IVGs, so I'm gonna stick to it. I'm not gonna switch anything up. But RR is definitely different with CISDs because the stop's gonna be bigger. So like you're gonna have to put on more size or do something else. Or like risk minis. So the C2, C3 closures just help you identify if the day is going to be a continuation or reversal. Yep. It helps me establish narrative. It helps me like so well. Like as you saw that example, it's really good. Usually if there's a SMT between, C1, C2, C3, it's so awesome. Another example of like what do you want? Like low day or high day? C2, C3. You want me to just draw it? Here. This is like a good example if this was like a 4 hour. Do you want one with SMTs or no? Like this is like ideal. Respects 0.5 of wick. Expands. C1, C2, C3. But usually if you pair that with an SMT, it's even better. That's like my favorite thing to trade. One day, can someone backtest and you help / critique? Yeah, we could definitely do like if y'all would want to do like a vote if I take the trade or not on backtesting or something like that. We could like look for setups and I'll ask you guys if you take the setup or not, and then I'll answer. That'd be a cool video idea. Yeah, we could definitely do that. Maybe we can do it this week at some point. Or like a 1v1. That'd be cool. Y'all at 1v1, I like critique the trades. All right. I'm gonna end this recording. That was fire. This is a good session.